Welcome back to Heel Shit. Why do we call it that? Because bad guys do heel shit. We got something special for you guys today. I'm Dark Cordz. That's Draven Grimes. We got the man Cobra Singh right here. How you doing, man?
Doing all right, man. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Absolutely.
Was
Before we get started, why don't you tell everybody where they can find you? Give us your social medias, all that good stuff.
uh, on IG, I'm the Cobra Singh. Uh, Singh spelled Singh. On Facebook, Cobra Singh, and I think that's about it.
Okay.
I got Snapchat, but I don't really use it much.
Yeah, not really useful for what we do.
Yeah.
So what did you think about WrestleMania this year, man?
Well, I caught night two. I was busy wrestling on in Naples, I believe, on Saturday, but I caught night two. I thought night two was great. It was good. Everybody that I know, like a lot of people I know, were shocked with the ending, and I wasn't at all. That's what I expected. For From the WWE standpoint, to keep Roman holding that title is going to be good for business. Um, they're looking to build the next Hogan, the next Rock, and in order for them to do that, he has to go further than those guys did, and so that's why they give him this push, and he deserves it. He's great, man. He's a great character actor. Like his acting has gotten
So good.
better and better. Where it's just like it's on point. And nobody's expecting him to do a million backflips or nothing, but
Right.
the character that he does is great. It's on point. And
Yeah.
Cody, I love Cody. Cody's my coach from the Nightmare Factory, and I was rooting for him, but I just kind of had that idea that that's what they were gonna do.
Yeah, ever since his heel turn, he's been the biggest act in wrestling. I mean, you can't deny that.
Yep.
Um, so who do you think can dethrone him at this point?
Well, it's what I've been saying, which a lot of people disagree with me, but I think they're going to wait for the Rock schedule to clear up, bring him in, put Roman over, and then he gets to retire and go to acting too. That's just
So you
that's
think
how I would do it,
you think he's going to wind up relinquishing the title instead of getting beat?
Uh, I think um, that maybe they would do a back and forth. Maybe he would wind up losing to The Rock, and then he would come back again and win. But I think will have something to do with him, because the whole bloodline story, what better way? But I could be wrong too. He's a busy guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
These are all just guesses, man.
Hmm.
Maybe they don't even know yet. Maybe they're just kind of winging it. You know what I mean? Week by week. Right, right.
Yeah, I would.
Especially now with them being bought out by Endeavor and stuff. I have no idea what's going on over there.
What do you think about Vince being back in charge?
I mean, he's the one who built this thing, man. So I uh, I always appreciated the McMahons, and they were always on the creative ball for the most part. I think during the pandemic they kind of fell off a little bit, but everybody kind of did. The whole business was just kind of in a weird place,
Hmm.
and that really wasn't Vince's fault. Um, but I think I'm a little bit upset because I dumped my stock in the WWE just like 2 weeks ago because I had to make a trip, and I was like, man, I gotta sell off some stock to go out there and afford this, and then I saw that they got bought out and their stocks went up, and I was like, man, I would have made a good amount of money
Uh,
if I would have kept it, but it's okay. What are you gonna do? I mean, it wouldn't be like it wouldn't be a fortune or nothing, but it would be a good couple $100.
yeah, every penny counts in our business.
Right? It's
So,
true.
so tell us about how you got started in the business. What made you want to get into the business? The
Yeah.
the big move that you took a chance on.
Yeah. I wasn't much of an athlete growing up. I didn't really play any sports, but I was a bodybuilder. My father was a bodybuilder. My brother was a bodybuilder, and I had an acting background in college. I I did community theater, and I'm going back to USF starting in the fall, and I'm going to be working on another degree in performing arts and theater again. Uh, but I kind of figured I was 32. I was living in Wyoming. It's where I graduated college, and I kind of was like, man, if I'm going to do something, I need to do it before I age out. And I figured I'll put two and two together and give wrestling a shot because I was a wrestling fan growing up. I wasn't the biggest super fan. I don't want to use certain terms, as some of the guys in this business. I liked it when I was a kid, and then I kind of grew up and went to high school and kind of just forgot about it for a while. You know what I mean? And then I came back to it like 2 or 3 years before I decided that okay, this is something I want to try to pursue. And
Right.
then, because I was out there after I graduated college, I was running a limousine and party bus service in Casper, Wyoming, and it was getting to the point where like I was having to hire drivers all the time, and like I would have to be driving. So then I was just kind of a limo driver, and I was like, this is not what I planned to be doing for the rest of my life. So I went online. Well, I talked to my family first and made sure I had their support, because I needed their help. And if anything, just, their guidance too, because they're pretty smart guys. Um, and we Googled and looked for what we thought would be the best wrestling schools. We went through a list that ultimately it came down to either I was going to go to Dory Funk School in Ocala, or I was going to go to Harley Race's school in Missouri. And then, like a week after I came down to Ocala, Harley Race died, or maybe like right before. And so then I was like, well, I guess I kind of made the right choice. I do appreciate everything Dory did for me. He taught me the basics. He's a good coach, and from there I branched out, and uh, from there I went to train with Dr. Tom Pritchard and at JPWA, and then after that I was on the road, and my family and my colleagues were like, while you're out there, stop in Atlanta and go to the Nightmare Factory too, and just get that out of the way too, and then come back home to Florida. And I was like, okay, might as well. I've been out and I was out on the road for 9 months, those two training schools. Um, I learned a lot, met a lot of cool people. Networking is a big thing too, not just what you learn, but who you know. And all those guys were good. Cody Rhodes, QT Marshall has been great to me. Um, you have an opportunity when you go out to the Nightmare Factory to debut on Dark. Not everybody makes it, but out of like 25, I would guess like maybe like 5 to 7 guys at each class will get an opportunity. I was lucky enough to have an opportunity, and then Captain Sean Dean is the guy who does the booking there, and that was last summer. And now I'm gonna ask again here in like a month or two. I've been without a ring for a few months because I was working with one company down here, Continental, and I kind of took a break for a little bit because I kind of needed to figure out some of my like, real life stuff this last fall and winter. That's when I decided I was going to go back to school, and I got to have another option because even I do believe that I can make it to the top of this business, but at the same time, I have to have an exit strategy because even if I do make it, you can't wrestle forever.
Mm.
So once I got that figured out, I was like, okay. And now I'm going to be training in Tampa with Brian Idol. He goes by Mercurio on NWA.
Mm.
At his facility, Fight the World Wrestling, and there's some great talent up there. There's like 4 other people that are on NWA, and My friend Daisy Kill is there, and uh, they have a school where it's like they have some good talent, and they have people from all different uh, levels of experience. Kids to adults. And they're going to be doing some one-on-one stuff with me too, like some smaller group stuff to just hammer out little details that I need to improve on. That was big for me too. Like any place that I could go to that could just maybe give me an hour in the ring with just a couple people, and just fucking bust my ass, as
Mm-hmm.
much as we can, and see what we can do. And so I'm excited for that. I'll be starting there next month in May. I think Brian Idol was in Australia doing some stuff, and they just got done doing a show in Chicago over the weekend.
So obviously, I was there with you at Dory's school,
Yep.
but so I know how that experience is. Tell us about how it was at the Nightmare Factory.
At the Nightmare Factory, I like the way that I progressed with like my coaches and the few schools that I went to, because at Dory's, it was like we kind of just learned the basics. Coach was, um, in his golden years, and he's not wasn't as hands on, but he knows he's still incredibly sharp, and he taught us those fundamentals without it being a super stressful environment or anything like that. It was pretty laid back and chill. It was really just like five of us in there, and a lot of times we just be googling stuff and like trying to figure out stuff on our own. And it gets to a point where you do kind of have to coach yourself.
Yeah.
But then after that, Tom Pritchard's was like in the middle. Like Dr. Tom is a serious coach, but he jokes a lot. Like he'll make you work hard. He's gonna push you, but he does joke around a lot, which is nice. Even when Dr. Tom is yelling at you, it's still kind of funny. Like nobody's scared. And the Nightmare Factory, it was more intense. That's the first thing you notice. You go in there and it's more competitive. There's 25 people from across the country, and people are, fighting almost, like competing. You can tell there's that competitiveness that I didn't see at the other two places,
Mm-hmm.
which is good. I felt like in that progression, it kind of prepared me for that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I wouldn't say that people are cutthroat, but people are watching you. Like even the other students are like, always keeping an eye on who they think's at the top, who's going to get what opportunity, which is good. I mean, you want to be competitive. This is a business that competitiveness is a good trait to have.
Mm. Um, how many times have you been on Dark?
I've been on Dark once,
Mm.
just once, and I'm gonna ask them to go back on in like a month or so. Hopefully, uh, they uh, they approve. If not, I'll go back to the drawing board, keep working at it. The thing about Dark is like they tell you like don't go in there expecting to get a contract. That's not how Dark works. Dark is so you can get some major exposure and get more bookings. It increases your indie presence.
Mm-hmm.
And I did notice that a lot. I got a lot more bookings after Dark, and a little bit more people know my name. Still, most people have no idea who the hell I am. I'll be honest with you, though. Let's be realistic. But one day, if I keep going, you never know.
Absolutely. Where have you wrestled lately?
Lately, I've been wrestling with Coastal Championship Wrestling, and I've been wrestling with I'm starting with um, WWN, Sean Davis's promotion in not Port St. Lucie, Port Richey, yeah.
Mm.
And then I'm making my return at USWA here in Jax, Ella Quillen's organization, and we're doing a show at the Armory on
April 22nd.
April 22nd. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be there with the podcast. We're pretty close. Well, Draven's really close to the booker there.
Yeah, I'm real excited. They're always good people. I did a show with them. Me and Joel did a show with them when we first got into town. Before we kind of we just had met Chris in Continental at that time, and we were wrestling with Continental for. He still does. I've taken kind of like a little hiatus. I don't know. I left amicably with the company. I just kind of wanted to explore some other stuff, but. When we were working with Continental, we were kind of strictly staying with Continental when we were working in Jax. That's something that Chris wanted us to do, which is understandable. You wanted to have some exclusivity in the locker room to kind of have a unique show. But now that I'm out here, a little bit more of a free agent, I'm coming back to USWA, and I'm excited. I don't know who my opponent is yet, but as soon as I find out, I'll let you guys know. I'm hoping. I mean, I know they have great talent in that locker room, and I've worked with those guys across the country. So, well, at least mainly my wrestling has been in the South. Like, I started off in Tennessee. That's where Dory sent us when we after we had our first few matches. We started working with USA Championship Wrestling, and that was owned by Burt Prentice, and that's. That was another thing I was really grateful for with Dory, because he introduced me to Burt, and I got better working out there. And Burt gave me a lot of shows and gave me some experience. And then Burt, R.I.P., he passed away a couple years ago. And after that, I wrestled for Tennessee Championship Wrestling. But there was kind of a void after he passed away, because he kind of really held that west side of the state down when it came to indie wrestling. But I met his nephew Jake Lawless out there too. He's a great wrestler and friend of mine. And then I wrestled in like Georgia a little bit, and then the rest of my wrestling has been in Florida. So when I say across the country, I mean just these few states. I want to get more bookings in other places. I wrestled in Spain last year from a guy I met at the Nightmare Factory named Big CA. He has a boxing gym / wrestling gym out there, and me and Joel went out there, and we had a blast, and we had a good crowd, and it was it's interesting to see how other places wrestle and stuff. I didn't know. I mean, I knew that wrestling is big around the world, but I didn't know exactly how till you get out there, and like they know everything, that all the terminology and stuff. It's pretty much the same. They have some different things that they call, but they're the same words. But it was pretty refreshing to go out there and be able to do that. I want to go wrestle in Japan, and I want to wrestle in Italy. Those were my 3 countries around the world if I go to. Maybe Mexico one day, but I don't know if I'll be able to switch to the left,
Yeah, lucha style is a little harder to do when you do it with right hand so long.
Yeah.
So you've wrestled through Tennessee, through Florida, Spain, stuff like that. Is there any one worker that you've worked with that you just have that chemistry with above everybody else?
Yeah, Bryce Maddox, because we had started together, and it was just like me and him were the only kind of like adults who were had a athletic background. I mean, even with my bodybuilding, I consider that at least I had some physicality with it. But yeah, me and him, and Tom too. Tom and Andrew Mitchell, the guys that started out there, we kind of we learned the ropes of this business kind of together and stuff. And it's good to have people like that, because as you guys know, this industry, people can be pretty cutthroat, and some people are backstabbing and all that. And when you meet some guys that aren't, and you're friends, and you want to see each other grow and all do well. I think that's important, and it's good for your mind and for your soul and all that stuff.
Did
I
I hear
I,
that?
I
Good.
Go ahead. I was gonna say I refuse to be one of these guys that's like, oh, I'm gonna be the hardest worker in the room. I'm gonna be better than you. I can't operate like that. Like if I look at life like that, I'll just shut down. Like that might motivate some people, and that's great. But like I run on optimism, and I believe that there's a spot for all of us. If we work hard enough, uh, we can all get a piece of the pie.
Yeah, no, that's a good attitude to have. Yeah, when Cobra was mentioning Bryce, we're talking about Bryce Maddox. Is he still the CCW champion?
Yep.
Yeah, very proud of him. Just a monster wrestler. Like I said before, probably the strongest guy I've ever been in the ring with.
Yeah.
Just unbelievable power, athleticism. Did I hear that he was about to jump onto one of the big stages?
I don't want to talk too much about his stuff. I didn't tell him I was going on here and stuff, but he had an opportunity with AEW recently, and he he got his foot in the door, and he's got big things coming to him. It's only a matter of time with Bryce. So
Didn't I see him as a security guard on Dynamite? Didn't he get punched out by John Moxley a couple weeks ago?
yeah, that's what it was. So we went to St. Louis, and then he had another spot where he he was in the Ring of Honor Women's Championship match too, and it was good. It came out good, and he had fun, and
Yeah,
yeah.
we just saw and interviewed Andrew Mitchell yesterday, so we're gonna put both of you into this indie spotlight kind of.
Oh, nice.
So yeah.
Yeah, Andrew, he recently hit me up and he asked me to come to WWN and wrestle because that's where he's wrestling, and I was like, yeah, sure, man, I'll come down there and check it out.
Yeah, I'm really proud of him because his 2023 every single weekend he's somewhere wrestling. Either Go Wrestling or
Yeah,
WWN or he's got like a lot of places that he's constantly wrestling in, and he deserves it. I mean,
yeah, he does. He's a really talented kid, and he has passion for this business. I don't think I've met anybody who loves the wrestling business as much as he does.
mm,
And he knows everything. He pays attention to all this stuff. I try to watch the product as much as I can. I watch, I record, SmackDown and Rampage and all that, and I watch them when I get time. But these days, like, I can't watch it like I used to before I started working. You know what I mean? Like, the feeling is different now. Now it's homework. Now I'm studying. I'm breaking everything apart. I'm like, oh, maybe I'll use that in my match next or something. But he has this passion for the business that's infectious, which is good. And he's a talented young man. I don't want to say kid. When we first started wrestling with him, he was 15,
yeah,
and like it's like me, Tom, and Joel like throwing this 15-year-old around. Like for him to be able to like roll with us, like that's saying something. And we always kept him safe though, But
okay.
like if we needed to try something out, Andrew would be like, "Let's do it." Whatever you want to do,
Yeah, I
man.
learned all of my big power moves
hmm
on Andrew.
he took a doomsday device with me and Joel, and I was like, man, this kid is tough.
Yeah, absolutely.
Love him.
So who's
So
your favorite wrestler out there right now?
My favorite wrestler of all time is Sting. I
Oh
think
yeah, me
that's
too.
both of ours. But right now, I kind of got like a favorite wrestler in each promotion. Roman is my favorite in the WWE just because I feel like I want to kind of try to do some of the stuff he's doing because I'm not the most technically naturally gifted athlete. I had to learn and uh, kind of practice a bunch of times, to get things, to get to where I'm at. Some
Right.
people like Joel, he comes from a football background where he came in here and he just like bam, he gets, he's right off the bat, he picks things up really quick. I have ADHD, and so like at first it was kind of a big challenge being able to get all this stuff down. But with Roman, he doesn't need to do a million flips. He doesn't need to do really a whole lot. I mean, it's what he does and how well he does it and the way he tells a story. And that's like what I'm trying to accomplish. I think that's something that I could do, and that I'm getting better at. So I like Roman and I like Cody Rhodes, obviously. I'm obligated to say that. No, Cody's great, man. Cody's one of the nicest human beings. Like, there's people in this business that like, they're nice, and then you go meet them and they're like, well, they're kind of curt or just like dry and like professional, but you don't really. Cody really cares. Cody was really positive with me, and like it was inspiring to meet somebody like that. And he looks the part. They put on a great match. I mean, I thought it was a great match at WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
I like MJF a lot, but I'm a heel myself. I admire what he does and how he can live a life where everybody hates him, But I can't do that myself. I will not. I refuse to do it. And a lot of my coaches, they'll get mad at me because they'll be like, Jamal, we look at your social media and it's a picture of you with your cat and this and that. But my thing is this: I have another job outside of wrestling, and I'm trying to go back to school now because I want to take a book out of your page. I want to study that next year and see if I can get into Stetson. And so I want people to look at my social media and be like, this guy is a professional. I don't want them to look at my social media and be like, oh, this guy's telling kids to go F themselves, That's
Right.
not going to be good for my business, unfortunately. Now, if you pay me a full 6-figure contract, I'll tell these kids to go screw themselves tomorrow. But until that day, my social media is going to be professional. And when I get out the curtain, then you're going to hate me. I promise you. You will hate me for those 15 minutes. But when I get, after that in parking lot, if some kids come up to me, I'm not going to yell at them or try to scare them or, I just can't. And I've read articles where they say that being a heel is not good for people who have like mental health issues and stuff, because like people will go online, and when you have like 5 followers and stuff and you're just ranting, saying like asshole stuff. I don't know how much I could curse on here. Like,
As much as you
people.
want.
Anything from ass all the way to fuck. Shit.
All right, good. These are the ones I like.
Yeah.
When you're an asshole like that, and you got like 5 people following you, people just think you're crazy, man. They'll be like, "What the hell is this guy?" And I know a lot of people like, I love a lot of these workers, but like, you look at their social media and you're like, "Yeah, these people are insane," and none of them are making money.
It was the craziest thing because I've always been a heel too. And me and Draven are in a 4-man faction called the Forbidden Kingdom, and we're absolutely hardcore heels. But it always amazes me after a show when kids want pictures and autographs from us because everybody in the building hated us.
Yeah.
But they're still coming out, and I'm not refusing these kids. Like, I know I'm not going to WWE, so I'm just going to be as pleasant as I possibly can, except for between bells.
Yeah.
So
That's the way I see it too, man. I do this for the kids and for the families and for them to get some type of joy out of this. I don't do it for the 40-year-old dudes living in their mom's basement because they're gonna pick my shit apart anyway, and they're gonna talk smack about it. So like, no, it's not for them. I do this So some families can go out for a little bit and forget about their problems for 10 minutes, and then life goes on, you know? Now, if, like I said, if one day I get a contract, then I can do it. Then I can go into that mode. Even though I think about it sometimes, though, and like it could be a dark place to go to, you know. I mean, and I think about that. I worry about like even with MJF, like there might be some times where this guy. I remember being a heel and having the crowd yelling at me. There would be times where I would think, do these people actually really hate me? Is this an act, or like am I a shitty person, you know? Just for a split second your mind might go there, and it's a dark place for your mind to go. And so I always had that concern about these people who take it that far.
Yeah.
But I do admire it. But I remember there have been promoters that didn't want me to post pictures of my cat, and I was like, man, I'm not going to do that. That's the one thing I got in my life that that appreciates me, and
It amazes me.
there's been a lot of evil guys with cats. Doctor Evil, the guy from Charlie's Angels, and these are the things that I be telling the promoters. Tyson had a cat, a tiger. You know?
Hey, the bad guy from Inspector Gadget.
Yep.
You know? And let's see.
Me, I got my cat. Some
Yeah.
fucking Mrs. Biggleton.
And
My cat's sleeping right here.
who's the one I'm trying to think of? The guy that a couple of those were panned after. Wasn't there a Bond villain with a cat?
Yeah, I think so.
Dr. No, I think his name was.
Actually, I saw MJF's Facebook profile picture, and it is like him with a cat too.
Yeah.
I think he does have a cat.
It surprises the shit out of me how these promoters who pay 30, 40 bucks for a show trying to tell their wrestlers they can't do certain things.
Yeah, you have to live this type of lifestyle
You
now.
can only work for me. You know,
Liz.
you're supposed to somehow get more popular by only working in one spot. Like, no, man, if you're an indie wrestler, you take every fucking booking you can get your hands on.
I get, you know, the thing is, I understand where they're coming from because they have this old school mindset, you know. And back in the day, that's what the business was. But the kayfabe era, it's dead, man. I hate to say it, but the cat's been out of the bag. But that's okay. The fans know how to suspend belief. That's what this is all about, you know, being able to understand it is a show. But there are promoters that are like, you want kayfabe to stay alive, and I do. Like when I'm at the show, like I'm be careful to stay away from faces and to be interacting with. I don't want to be like taking a bunch of pictures with them around and stuff like that. So I do, for the most part, hold that up. But there are certain boundaries that I'm gonna keep for my own well-being. You know what I mean? Because nobody's gonna look after you like you.
Yeah, that right. I don't know if you caught a couple weeks ago we debated our each of our top tens in history, and of course Dory showed up on mine, and then obviously no. You know damn well that there would be no money coming from the Funks towards me. Right? But no, I think he wound up like number 8, and Sting obviously number 1. But if you haven't seen that episode or heard that episode, go check it out.
Yeah, I did. I watched it. I think I've seen all the episodes now. You guys got like 3 or 4? How many has it been now?
No, actually, I think this one will be our 8th week.
8 or 9.
Yeah.
8? Okay.
And then we've got this one. This show comes out on Mondays, and then we have shows on Wednesdays and Thursdays. Also, they're a little bit different One I think you'll like. It's called Talking Shit. We have legendary Florida booker Thump Dupree on with us.
Yeah, I
We
watched that one.
Oh yeah,
Hmm. Hmm.
yeah. We just run our mouth about shit. And oh
Some
yeah, that's
some
the.
some Dupree, he runs with Adrenaline Wrestling.
He was my booker for Adrenaline. We're coming back, hopefully August. So hopefully we can get you on there.
Yeah, man.
Um,
Would
yeah,
love
he was
to.
my booker there. He's booked all the big guys, and from what is the big ARW to Knockout. He's booked for everybody. Um,
Mm.
but he was a great heel and one of the best shit talkers I've seen
Yeah.
when he was wrestling. And we just that's the episode that I ran my campaign against Marty Funk. But it's just we're just talking shit, just wrestling, non-wrestling. It's
Yeah.
been kind of as we're slowing down our wrestling careers. Um, this has been a great thing to keep in contact with the wrestling business and still be as far into it as you really as you are as a talent. Um,
Agreed.
Yeah. I I caught you guys talking about the top tens, and that's a subjective list, you know.
oh sure.
Uh, I feel like it has to be broken down in like several different ways. Like who would be the most technically gifted, you know, skilled, or who was the
Mhm.
most over, you know.
Mm.
Um, that's a tough list to do.
Yeah, it's all opinion, and we invite pushback
It,
from whoever.
if I told you guys who my favorite wrestler, one of them is, you guys will be like, no, he shouldn't be on that list. I like Jimmy Garvin a lot. I like wrestlers that were just kind of funny. You know what I mean? I enjoy the comedic parts of wrestling a lot.
Oh, okay.
So my list would have guys like that on it. Um,
That would not be an issue at all.
Mm.
Like,
yeah,
No, that
what
would
was
be
fucking out of nowhere? I just pulled Christopher Daniels out at number 10,
yeah,
just because of everything he's done outside of the business, as
yeah.
far as backstage shit, rather than what he's done in the ring. What he's done in the ring is legendary on its own. I mean, he's called the
Mhm.
king of the reason, but it's
Yeah.
all this outside of the ring for the guys in the back. That's how I focused my top 10.
Yeah. My favorite like person out of wrestling was Bobby Heenan. He wasn't a wrestler really, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But the guy was just entertaining, man. You know, he just made me laugh.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Draven, you have any other questions before we wrap up?
No, not really, my dude. I mean, you pretty much covered everything this morning. I'm still a little hoarse from last night's LCCW show, so I'm kind of glad you kind of took the reins so my voice could heal up a little bit.
Oh, great. Well, is there anything else you want to pitch? Where can people see you wrestle soon?
The 22nd with USWA here in Jacksonville. Friday the 14th, I'll be at WWN.
And that's in Tampa,
And
right?
that's in Tampa. And right now it's about as many bookings as I've taken, because I'm moving to Tampa in 3 weeks. So I'm like, I got a lot of stuff I'm kind of juggling right now, but my schedule's been pretty regular. So I'm hoping to be wrestling again with Coastal here pretty soon. So
Well, that's good. Yeah, we'll keep everybody kind of abreast on where you're wrestling, where Andrew's wrestling. Um, no, I'm glad we did this.
yeah, man, I had
I
fun,
haven't
man.
spoken. I mean, we've messaged back and forth, but we haven't had a conversation in some time, and it was really good to connect back with you.
For sure. Would like to come back again sometime, man. Just hit me up,
Yeah, no, absolutely,
and I will
absolutely.
see you guys here in the area soon.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely, and hopefully we'll see. Well, we will see you at the USWA show. So,
Yeah, we'll chat it up, man.
all right. Well,
Sorry, I didn't hear that last part. What'd you say, Draven?
Just pinned up somewhere doing interviews. Just chime in. We don't care.
Yeah,
we will.
yeah,
come
for
on.
sure.
Yeah,
All right.
we run things a little bit different here. So,
Yeah.
For Draven Grimes, I'm Dark Cordz. We want to thank Cobra Singh for joining us today. Go check him out. He gave you his social media. Hope you enjoyed this episode. We got Andrew Mitchell coming up after a quick cut, and stick around for that. But thank you very much.